Boo, ba ba, ba ba ba, boo, ba ba. Who's the man who will speak the truth? Boo, ba ba, ba ba ba, boo, ba ba. Lone candles that burn. Who's the man who will bring light into your life? Boo, ba ba, ba ba ba, boo. Ba-ba, lone candles that burn. Who's the man who digs through human excrement to present you the gems? Boo, ba-ba, ba-boo, ba-boo, ba-ba, lone candles that burn. Who's the man who kinda sometimes knows what he's talking about? Boo, ba-ba, ba-ba-da-boo. Ba-ba, lone candles that burn. Who's the man who has a scatterbrain, low IQ, and weak memory recall? Boo, ba-ba, ba-ba-da-boo. Ba-ba, lone candles that burn. Who's the man who plays games and complains that he sucks at them? Boo, ba-ba, ba-ba-da-boo. Ba-ba, lone candles that burn. Who's the man who has been accused of several attempts of bestiality? Boo, ba-ba, ba-ba-da-boo. Ba-ba, lone candles that burn. Lone candles here for you to bring light into your life. He will figure things out for you and then get confused and start cussing at himself, at you, and God. He is really just an incompetent boob, but he's still better than everyone else on earth. If that... Hello, welcome to Lone Candle Live. Yeah, well, this is another reply guy with Lone Candle. Camera's working. Where I'm going to argue with random people on the internet, and well, actually, I already did, and I'm going to tell you about it. See, I argue with random people on the internet, so you don't have to. All right, let's get into it. Today, our beautiful topic was... I kind of don't remember. Let's just start from the top. So I was commenting on this video, which looks like it was posted 3 weeks ago. I am a big fan of this guy, by the way. You should follow him. But anyways, now or never, the U.S. preps Iran strike. So it's talking about the U.S. possibly going to strike Iran because Iran is, well, slaughtering its people. And Trump kind of had a red line where he said he was going to slaughter them, although it looks like he, did a classic red line that you don't enforce, because he sounded to me like he said if he slaughters people, he's going to strike, and so far it looks like we're not striking. Might still be the right decision, but generally not good to make red lines so you're not going to enforce. But anyways, not the point of this video. Somewhere in this video, there was a line that made me give a little comment. And here's what I said. Masked agents, not Asians, some of them might be Asian, masked agents of the state killing people, and the leaders calling the killed terrorists. So he was describing Iran. He was describing, I think this is close to a quote to what he said. He was describing how masked agents of the state, the Iranian state, were killing people, and the leaders of Iran called the people they killed terrorists. So, and for the most part, that was a massive lie. People were protesting, possibly in some cases rioting, but essentially there was a threat to the regime, and so the Iranian government decided, hey, let's slaughter our own people so that we can stay in power. They had masked agents of the state killing people, and the leaders just called those people terrorists. Now, of course, why I wrote this is because that just put up a little light bulb in my head, because that was eerily similar to what's happening in the United States. Because in the U.S., we have masked agents of the state killing people, U.S. citizens, their own people. We have masked agents of the state killing U.S. citizens, and the leaders falsely calling the killed terrorists. That is horrendous. And, you know, when you see a clearly authoritarian regime doing something similar, it should ring a light bulb in your head by how dangerous what's going on is. Now, obviously, what's happening here isn't nearly as bad as what's going on in Iran. As far as I know, it's 2 U.S. citizens that were killed, possibly murdered by masked agents of the state. And they at least were in situations where, you know, things got heated. Things happened fast. It was confusing. There's at least possibly an argument for self-defense. In both cases, I don't think there's good arguments for that. But it was more of some combination of bad training, bad decision-making, things happening fast. It's hard to make those decisions fast. And when there's some amount of chaos and fear going on, and then 2 people were killed. And so that's, of course, way different than Iran pretty clearly ordering thousands of its own people slaughtered. But there's enough similar that, whoa, should really give you pause when you think about what's happening in the United States. And what really puts it over the top of being similar, of being horrendous, is frankly how the Trump administration responded to these killings. It responded by calling its own civilians terrorists, and falsely. It responded really horribly. Of course, the appropriate way to respond is, hey, you really got 2 options. You can look at the videos and clearly say, hey, obviously these were unjustified and we're going to have an investigation and there will be prosecutions. Or my most preferred is say even less than that and just, yeah, you know, we take this really seriously. We're going to neutrally investigate it, and professional prosecutors will decide whether or not someone needs to be prosecuted. That's really what the administration should be saying. Instead, they're lying to the American people about what happened and about who was killed. Now, in both cases, we're talking about agitators, people going beyond what they should be doing when it comes to protesting ICE. But also in both cases, they shouldn't have been killed. And the way the administration described what happened was with blatant lies. And that's what puts it over the top and turns it from, oh shit, honestly, bad policy and leadership from the top that partially caused this, to, oh, fuck, that's an act of tyranny. When your people, masked agents working for you, kill your civilians that you're supposed to be protecting as the leader of the country, and you lie about what happened, and you lie about those people. That's horrendous. That's what happened in Iran. That's what's happened in the United States, and that should certainly set off your alarm bells like, holy crap. All right. So this guy said, well, it is not Iran and mass shootings, which I've already went over. Obviously, I'm not saying that they're equally bad, as I've made clear already. And I said, true. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yes. We're simpatico, you and me. We agree. Yes. Now, let's make children. Anyways, let's see. Good that the terrorists are eliminated. It pays to mind your own business. I don't really know where that guy's coming from, so I don't have anything to say on that. All right, here said, I thought we were talking about Iran. Why make everything about the U.S.? You know, like, no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to make any comment about anything else just because it seems relevant to you. You're just not allowed to comment that. Of course you are. Now, it is different if, like, I was having a disagreement with someone about point A, and then while arguing against them, I also just start talking about random things, because that's confusing. It's confusing, and it almost makes it would make it sound like I'm making irrelevant arguments to the actual point at hand. But of course, here's not what happened. I'm watching a video, and the video makes me think, wow, yeah, that's horrendous, because what he just said applies to the U.S. that is horrible. Yeah. So the similarities were insightful and frightening. What's happening in Iran is much, much worse. But if Trump is willing to lie about one killing of a U.S. citizen by an agent of the state, by the way, it's 2 now, how far could it go? And even if it doesn't go further, it makes clear that Trump is acting like a dictator, even if not nearly as bad as Iran. Okay. In Marty we trust. I don't trust Marty, although I do have a family member named Marty. I wonder if this is him. I have no belief that he is, but if it is, then I might trust him because he's a family member. I don't really know him that well, though. All right. That 3 facts that match Tehran and Minneapolis, but then include the myriad of other facts don't align. The ICE agent shot a driver driving at him. You want to see what happens when LEOs don't take the shot? Law enforcement officers, I'm guessing. Look up Bourne Street and Bondi massacre in Australia. And there's the officers were criticized for not taking a shot when they should have. But of course, that's a ridiculous comparison because there was no reason to believe the incident he's talking about was a person about to try to kill innocent people. Oh, there was all the reason to believe it was someone scared and doing something really stupid and fleeing from the police and accidentally hitting someone to the side. Another thing, driving at him, that's also factually inaccurate. The woman that he's referring to was not driving at him. It was driving to his side, and it hit him and clipped him and pushed him to the side. So he's inaccurately, this doesn't apply. It's a different situation for important reasons. He's inaccurately describing what happened here. And as I described before and clearly acknowledged, and which should go without saying, the facts that are similar are enough for the point to be interesting. And for it to be, real frankly, insightful, even if, yes, I'm not claiming what Trump's doing is as bad as what's going on in Iran. Obviously, what's going on in Iran is way worse. But we don't even want to step in that direction, okay? 1, because every step is bad. And 2, it's because you don't get to step 3 without step 2. And you don't get to step 2 without step 1. And frankly, we're at like step 15 right now with all the things Trump's doing. But, we need to be at step like 10,000 to be at Iran. But you might start taking steps faster once you get the ball rolling, which is a different analogy. But you get the point. You get the point. And if you don't, well, you just have to comment. All right. All 0 of you. Okay. Let's see. What's going... there's what I said. Probably pretty close to what I just said now. What's going on in Iran is clearly way worse. But enough facts do align to draw the insightful comparison. And what you said is false. At least 2 shots were fired as the driver was driving to the right of him. As in after he was hit and bumped to the side, 2 shots fired while the driver was clearly turned away. He was actually stepping toward her, which means if you're afraid of getting run over, you don't step toward the vehicle. Yeah, and if you have enough wherewithal of mind to step toward the vehicle, you have enough to not shoot. Anyways, so you inaccurately described what happened. As the driver was driving to the right of him, and the first shot was a mistake in judgment, as nothing about the context indicated that the woman intended to kill him, and he was on the very left side of the car, where he could be bumped to the side rather than need to fire to save himself. Trump then responded by falsely calling the woman a terrorist, which is just a lie to the American people about an agent of the state killing a citizen. It's irresponsible rhetoric from the President of the United States. He could have argued self-defense, or even better, stay calm. Or even better, stay calm and we'll see what the investigation says. Instead, he just lies and calls the dead woman a terrorist. And now, with the 2 people killed, I do think, I want a full investigation, of course, but from what I've seen in the videos, I do think the officers acted incorrectly. I don't think in either case it was justified killing and that there should be prosecutions. But even if it were not the case, even if it's the case where let's say I think that now, but I read a really good article that really breaks it down and helps me get into the eyes of law enforcement in that situation, and I'm convinced, what, actually, yeah, I think that was reasonable self-defense. based on what was happening, and yeah, I think it was appropriate. Let's say I decided that. How the Trump administration responded would still be horrendous. It would still be authoritarian. It would still be reminiscent of how the Tehran, the Iranian government, spoke about the people that its masked agents killed. We absolutely should not have our government, especially at the top of the government, when a U.S. civilian is killed, just come out and say, yep, they're terrorists. Or, yep, they're not allowed to have guns there. When in both cases, that is 100% false. That's what an authoritarian and a dictator would do. Those are the acts of an authoritarian dictator. Those are tyrannical acts. And that'd be the case even if ultimately it turned out because of how difficult it is in that situation, the officers acted correctly. I don't think they did. But even if they did, the fact that Trump responds like that makes it reminiscent of what's happening in Iran, at least on that narrow point, and should be a light bulb. Like, holy crap, we're making some big strides into authoritarianism, and it's not good. Bad. All right. All right. I'm almost done here. We all saw the video. I'm not even going to argue. We all saw it. Well, if you're not going to argue, I don't have anything to respond to, so I don't know. This was at In Marty We Trust. So, I don't even know what he thinks, which side he's on in this case, or what his opinion is, but okay. This guy's actually responding to Kimmer Chan, not me, but I think I responded to him anyways. Sure did. Were you surprised how quick the draw and 3 shots off were? 2 in the body and allegedly 1 in the head. Pretty much dispels any idea of poor training. So a couple things on that. One, on the part of poor training, not really. It shows that he's a good shot. But you realize that police officers, they have much more of their job as just being quick at drawing and shooting well. It's also how to handle the community. How to not let yourself get into situations where, you might be ran over by a car. They need to be able to make the right decision, or at least have a good chance of making the right decision in the heat of the moment in complicated times where you might feel threatened. That's what good training is about, not just the aspect of being a good shot, although they should be good shots too. Surprised by the quick draw. If you go back and watch the video, he actually drew the gun before the car started moving. He could have been stepping to the side to make it more difficult for him to be hit. Instead, he drew his gun. So that's also, to me, a sign of bad training, that instead of de-escalating, instead of removing yourself to making sure you don't get hurt, you use killing the other person as the first step to defend yourself. And that's not good. That's not good at all. All right. So the draw was made before she was moving toward him, when he could have been moving to the side. His draw was another example of a mistake on the officer's part. Even the official manual says to not cross in front of a car, which the video clearly showed him doing. He crossed in front of the car. He should have prioritized moving out of possible danger. Instead, he stayed where he was and pulled his gun, while still holding onto his cell phone. It all happened very fast, which is his best defense, and the draw isn't the most important element, but it is an element not in favor of an officer acting directly. And of course, we're talking about the draw just because for some reason this guy decided to bring up the draw. And that's what I decided to respond to. All right, and this guy said, it looks like a new guy, I think, responding to me here. The takeaway from that should be to not drive directly toward a federal officer telling you to get out of the vehicle. So again, he's just factually inaccurate here. She was not driving directly towards an officer. She was clearly turning to the right. We could see her turning the wheel to the right in the camera he was holding, which means he had that visual in this too. And remember, he was bumped to the side after the first shot, like completely to the side, and actually stepped toward the vehicle, firing while it was turning away from him. And so, anything that the driving did absolutely does not justify shooting the woman. But yeah, the woman was not acting appropriately. For sure, she was not. I mean, it sounds like she was blocking traffic before this even started. So that's bad. That's bad in the first place. But, when one officer's either trying to talk to her or telling her to get out of the car, she starts trying to pull away. That's fleeing from, officers. That's not good. She absolutely is not acting appropriately. But that alone in no way justifies her being shot. And this is the truth. She wasn't driving directly at him. She's turned to the right of him, clicked him, hit him hard, but he never even lost his footing. He got knocked to the side, and he needlessly shot her multiple times. All right. What did I say? I said, I agree that the woman did not act responsibly, but neither did the officer. She didn't drive directly at him. She was driving to the side and clipped him in such a way that bumped him to the side. You clearly see that in the videos. Then he irresponsibly shot at her 3 times. Well, the first shot was as he was being clipped, just to be clear. And it may have been 4 times. I think the video shows 3, but I think they may have did more analysis. It was 4. Someone should double check me on that one. Not that relevant whether it was a 4th one or not. But then he irresponsibly shot at her 3 or 4 times, even as the car was moving away from him. Then the President of the United States, again, this is the important part for the point I'm actually making here. The President of the United States falsely calls her a terrorist. That's a ridiculous claim. Absolutely false and horrendous. That's how the President of the United States responds in this incident. Horrendous. And then he does something similar again with the next guy who masked agents of the state killed. The lies about the death of a citizen at the hands of the state are eerily similar to the Iranian government's lies. Although, of course, what is going on in Iran is way worse because many more people are being killed and there is nowhere close to a self-defense argument for the Iranian agents. All right. Well, that's all I had for you today. This was another ReplyGuying with Lone Candle, where I show you how I waste my time talking to random people on the internet, and then I just, say what I wrote to them again and read it to you. It's a beautiful idea. It's a beautiful idea. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Like me, comment me, love me, and stream.